Odysseia comes back to Ithaca in a little boat on a clear day. The familiarity of the east face of the island seems absurd. Bemused, he runs a tricky rip current he has not thought about in 15 years and lands by the mouth of a creek where he swam as a boy. All his impatience leaves him, and he sits under an oak he remembers whose branches overhang the water, good for diving. 20 years have gone by, he reflects. What are a few more minutes? An hour passes in silence, and it occurs to him that he is tired and might as well go home. So he picks up his sword and walks toward his house, sure that whatever obstacles are laid, will be minor compared to what he has been through. The house looks much as it did when he left. He notices that the sheep buyer's gate has been mended. A rivulet of smoke rises from the chimney. He steals lightly in, hand on sword, thinking how ridiculous it would be to come so far and lose everything in a moment of carelessness. Within, Penelope is at her loom, and an old man drowses by the fire. Odysseia stands in the doorway for a while before Penelope notices him and shrieks, dropping her shuttle before she draws another breath, running and embracing him, kissing him and wetting his cheeks with her tears. "Welcome home," she says into his chest. The man by the fire stands up, looking possessive and pitifully concerned, and an intuitive flash Odysseia knows that this is her husband. The idea is absurd. The man is soft, grey and heavy. No hero, and never was one, would not have lasted an hour in the blinding glare before the walls of Troy. He looks at Penelope to confirm his guess, and notices how she has aged. Her hips wider, her hair more grey than not, the skin around her eyes traced with fine wrinkles. Without the eyes of homecoming, there is only an echo of her beauty. She steps back from him and traces a deep scar on his shoulder, and her wonder and the old man's fear become a mirror. He realizes that with his blackened skin, tangled beard, and body lean and hard from years of war, he looks like a reaver, a revenant, a wolf of the sea. Willfully composed, Penelope puts her hand on his shoulder and says that he is most welcome in his hall. Then her face collapses into tears, and she says she did not think he was coming back, had been told he was dead these last 8 years, had given up a long time ago, had waited as long as she could, longer than anyone thought was right. He had spent the days of his exile imagining different homecoming scenarios, but it had never occurred to him that she would just give up. The town deserted, his house overrun by violent suitors, Penelope dying, or dead and burned, but not this. Such a long trip, he thinks, and so many places I could have stayed along the way. Then, mercifully, revelation comes. He realizes that this is not Penelope. This is not his hall. This is not Ithaca. What he sees before him is a vengeful illusion, the deception of some malevolent god.